Hey everybody, back again. So, obviously, we had a good stream earlier. We had 3 hours, I think it was, where we discovered that I am proving rather incapable of following my own instructions, and that a number of errors have occurred. However, there are worse things in life. This is only a test square. It is not the end of the world. So, let's see. Let's see what we can get up to. Maybe we can finish the triangle tonight. If I shut up, don't mess up, and, well, let's see how it goes, hey? Helps if you take the carrot cap off, obviously. So, this is where we left ourselves earlier today. We have started the honeycomb with cross in the middle, and we are now in a position to, right, they're all done. All of these are spoken for. We don't need those. We possibly do need those. Actually, yeah, we probably do need those. But most of those bobbins are done for. We don't need those ever again. And I will burn them because they have spangles. And I hate the spangles. Now, oh, I know why you're there. Right. I was trying to work out why there were 2 bobbins coming from this. I now need maybe some more bobbins, which I think are you, maybe. Let's see. Because tangling is a well-known art form of bobbins. Let's look. We've got one there, one there. One there, one there. You. Go with you. You two together and you two together. So, you need to go down there, grab a pin. I really don't need to grab pins out of my potty mill. I've got plenty of pins. But, there we go. Actually, no, that's right. Okay, so, let's see how we're doing. Oh, it's Friday night. It's always a good day. The weekend is in front of us. The work week is over for most of us. Obviously, some of you maybe work the weekend. Maybe some of you only work the weekend. But for many of us, our work week is over. We now get to sit down and do much more of our own kind of things. And the reason my co-worker's been quiet, he's been in a concert, so he's a little worried that when he gets home his parcel won't be there that got delivered today. But the scratchiness, you can hear it scratch. It's horrendous. So, 1 and 2 perhaps. Yeah. So, you two cross. Stupid spangles. I hope you lot aren't doing some form of drinking game with me and the word spangles, because you will be wasted. You will be properly and utterly wasted. As my love for spangles has no bounds, as we know. It's bizarre. I'm looking at the bitrate upload and it currently says 2.5 meg. Why does it sometimes say 7? I mean, in a way it's a fairly static picture. It's, you know, there's a bit of audio, not a lot. I wonder why sometimes it's high. Right, you're done for. Push all of you to one side. Now, you're a bit long. Sort this out. Okay. So remove that for the moment. Slightly out the way. Yeah, kind of doesn't look right. Let me have a quick look. Don't know. That was quick, ads. Well, I think it looks wrong because I'm one out somehow. How am I one out? I get so disappointed. Oh, I wish I stopped making so many silly mistakes. Let's see. I'll do for the next one anyway. So let's do the next route. So, cross. Unless I've missed somehow. I don't think I did. No, it looks like it all adds up, so. These are a bit short. guessing you. You. So I've had my dinner, done the dog things. The Amazon man has been. Couldn't find my house for some reason. It's really not that hard, especially during daylight. There's only 3 houses in our road, and if you stand at the end of the driveway of, well, all 3 houses, a small child could throw a tennis ball straight off the edge, straight to all 3 of them. And if you tried really hard, maybe with a bit more of an adult level throw, you could probably bounce the tennis ball off all 3 houses, by using a bit of with a bit of angular momentum. So you've only had 3 to pick from. How can you not find it? But you get used to it. People constantly seem to not be able to find the house. It's only been here nearly 20 years, It's not even like it's a new build house and it's not on the map. Oh no, it's on the map. And it's not even one of the ones where they tell you to go down 6 wrong lanes to get there. It's always right. That's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to do that, and then I want to do this. What are you doing, dog? Funny noise. Maybe a second stream today was asking a little much of myself, but I really do want to get this done. My back's feeling a bit sore. As I said before, having everything in a position where I can film it does add to the complications of doing this. So I don't need you anymore. No, I don't even think I need you anymore. So I've got you. I need the next 2, which hopefully that's not you. How we were carefully counting bobbins when we did that bit of cloth stitch. Why do I not see bobbins coming off? Where's my pokey stick? Oh, pokiest stick. There you are. There are no bobbins coming off. Well, that thing I missed entirely. That explains that one, but not the one after it. Which I suppose it kind of does explain the one after it a little. Okay, so you lot are done for. We don't need to worry about you. She says, regretting it maybe if we have to undo that bit. But there's that pair. Oh, maybe I have. Maybe I have. Maybe I've just screwed up in picking them up. There's a pair, but I'm missing a pin. So, I need to grab these and untangle them because, well, they've all seem to have made a break for everything. Let's lengthen these a lot. Maybe a bit more than that. By the way, if you can hear me breathing, do not be alarmed. For some reason, I'm a mouth breather, and it's partly because I'm asthmatic, and I guess as a child, before I was diagnosed asthmatic, it almost became a habit to breathe in my mouth to get more air in rather than through my nose. Then, following my car accident, well, I couldn't breathe through half of my nose, so once again, it was all mouth. And, well, they did fix my nose. I can breathe through my nose very well. But it's not a habit. And I have a habit of opening my mouth to breathe while doing things. And I look really stupid. But of course, having your mouth open and breathing is not a quiet event. So I do apologise, but it's not something I can't really do anything about. It's so ingrained in, 50 years of existence that it just hasn't. Every so often I notice it and I'm like, stop it. But most of the time I'm concentrating on something, and like anything, when you concentrate, you almost blinker out everything else. So like this, I'm concentrating on getting the bobbins, making them a decent length, not pulling all my pins out and or wrecking what I'm doing, and so my mouth's open, I'm breathing, and I don't even know I'm doing it. And then suddenly I'll hear almost Darth Vader style, and you're like, yeah, it's probably not going to go down well. Now I need to cough. I also tend to breathe louder when I'm slightly in pain. And that can be quite disconcerting for people when I'm doing things. Right, so, you are all done and can bugger off over there. You are still somewhat in play, but I need to move you out the way while I investigate. Because, as I said, I seem to have missed a pinhole, which kind of implies I must have missed two. Because if I zoom, zoomy, as I say, you probably can't see it too clearly, but there is a hole here without a pin, and a hole here without a pair of bobbins. But the end result has pins in the right place. So that's a puzzle, because that really does imply I missed one somewhere else. bobbins, because well, there's a load of bobbins and pins and things. Is it there? Have I found it? Let me push you down quite a bit. See if I can see. Let's push you down a bit as well. So, pin, 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 pin. No, the top row, most indeed, has the correct number of pins. So this does not now make sense. Let me look at my picture. I'm not very good at looking at it upside down, admittedly. So if I was coming here, this is the inner one here, and it should go from out to in. And we went from in to out. Okay, so it's not as bad as it sounds. There is most certainly hope for it. There is definitely hope for it, because we went from this corner to that corner, and we shouldn't have been. We should have stopped effectively half a row earlier, but because we missed a pin, it makes it look wonky. So you go there. Right, what I need to do is take you out. Stab. And undo you. Right, now let's see. Back up because I need you. Right. I really can't see these things. They are far too small. Right. You come out. And the reason you come out is I need to be able to move you. I need to slide you up so I can angle you over and tug you like that, so that you now come out of that one. This pin can now go in there, which is where it should have been. We then do the whole thing and discard, and then five. So we've got our 6 pairs for there. That then goes in the corner. You all get tensioned. And you, actually, should I come back? It doesn't really matter. So, let's lengthen you a bit. Right. Oops. Bobbin moved, the bucky cushion moved again. This cushion can be angled, and it's got a handle to limit the movement, but it still moves. So, you've already mated with the pins, stop that. Let's find pokey stick to poke you down again. Pokety poke, like that. let's have a look at you. So, where are you? Might have over-lengthened the wrong pair of bobbins. So, I need to find your friend. And you're... one of these two. Sigh. Pretty not looking thing going on here, and I'm not quite sure how we have ended up with such a mess, because you are the other one. You, come here. You are the other one, I think, for this plan. No, you are the previous pin. So you definitely get to go away. But there seem to be 5 here, so let's try and work out what's going on. So, you are all mingled. I think you are actually that one. You, however, are not in the pin, are you? You have... So infuriating, and I can't explain why I can't see it. As I said in one of my early videos, my eyesight is perfectly good. Everything's sharp, except when I really want to look at something, I can't see it. It's almost like there's a really deep eye issue that has gone undiagnosed most of my life, in which there's like a blurry spot in the middle, but there isn't, right? Because looking around, everything is sharp, everything is clear. I can read things. I've got a bottle like nearly a metre away. I can read the front, and it's not that big a font, and all of those kind of things. But when it comes to something specific I really want to look at, I just can't see it. So, you actually need to go over there for the moment. And you definitely are over there. But now, you, wherever you are, assume it's you, because you seem to be responding to it. You now seem to be over here. And you weren't mere moments ago. Right, so this is the 4. And you are not right. You are here. But 2 of you should be heading to 2 of you. So that pin is a waste of humanity for the moment. It's funny because I only just did it. Right, and now I need to find the next 2 bobbins. You're also in a mess because you tied yourself around pins and things. You seem to be one of these. So let's see. Did I just stab a pin there? I did. Right. You go there for a minute. Seriously. How can I stuff up so bad where you know, it's almost like when you're weaving and you're threading your loom, and you know, you're threading 1, 2, 3, 4, and suddenly you realise you've done like 8 threes in a row, and you're like, how did I do that? And of course, it's always a while back, so you have to undo quite a large chunk. Right. So you are around there. You are good, my friend. You maybe not. So you should be like this, and then I would do whole stitch with you, pin, and another whole stitch, and you are done. And then you do a whole stitch, and the pin I took out goes in there. Clearly this is a evil stitch to kind of return to, shall we call it. Now, I need you to potentially, for now, let's not think I don't need those. So, you're the next one. Co-worker text alert. Right. And then you were discarded, so you are the last. So that all adds up, even though it didn't seem to. So you get to go there, you're there, ping, 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 ping. Kind of an in-joke. Hard to explain without giving away some stuff that I'm probably not supposed to. So they've been up in town, just down the road from me, and they normally live an hour away. And I kind of asked if I needed to be keeping an eye on the news about something. Something happened quite a few years ago. It wasn't either of us. We literally had nothing to do with it. Again, you do not happen. You do not need this bit. You just cross in the middle. And they wrote, really tempting. Same reason I'm not going to the rugby tomorrow. Because they might say, oops. And there was me joking. Never mind. Right, I think I'm back on track. I hope so. I do hope so. Because, to be honest, I'm getting really fed up with how many mistakes I've made doing this. Because, realistically, it's not that hard. And I just seem to be consistently and perpetually somehow making mistakes on things that just really don't deserve that level of mistake. Let me zoom back out so you can watch what's going on. Oh, look, more ads, Jesus. I've only been going 37 minutes, that's the second lot of ads. That's a bit quick, Mr. Twitch. Supposed to be every half an hour. Which, you know, technically 37 minutes, you can get 30 minutes between a couple of ads in it. But it is quite quick. Stop crossing them, stupid woman. Feel like Renee from Allo Allo. You stupid woman. I met him actually, Gordon Kane. He was badly injured once and took a big blow to the head. Can't remember quite how he took the blow to the head. It was all over the news here. Anyway, he was in hospital, and a great friend of mine at the time happened to have a brain tumour and be in the same hospital and had met him. And he was like, "Hey Liz, do you want to meet my friend?" "Yeah, okay." "Oh my god, it's Gordon Gay." "Hi." So, he probably wouldn't remember me, mind. Ads are done. I doubt he'd remember me at all. So, we have completed, yay, another section. We've only got, 4 more to go. Now, obviously, some of them are small, some of them are big, and I may refer to my earlier counting chart to ensure that I do not screw up the cloth stitch section again. But you are all totally done for. Maybe not you. But you certainly are all totally done for. Will not be needing you again. You are temporarily sidelined. You are short. So, where's my magic? Mind you, my magic picture didn't really have the... I needed the words, and we never went round the corner, did we? So... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That makes sense. So, we need to cross you a couple of times. And work our way across. I saw you two, mate, then. I watched it out of the corner of my eye. You go in the hole. It's just as well the camera is not kind of over my shoulder, because all you would see half the time is the back of my head, which really I know for a fact is distinctly not interesting. I'm a donut. I was just about to take a sip of my drink, and I've left it in the in the kitchen. Someone on. Hang on a sec. Back again. comfy. The dog's decided to fill up my spot, which of course is inevitably helpful of him. But I now have slurpage. For all the mouth breathing that I do. Right. So I did work out that I should have 6 at this point. I then only have 5, but then I gain 1 so it stays. Okay. Apparently I'm going to die from having a slurp of Coke. Right. And you should not have come in because you were going out. Which makes me question my numbers again. Makes me question my numbers again. Makes me question my numbers again. Please don't make me do that. So why are you not staying where you should? You can't just be a gamer. You do not. You should. You did gain 1. You've now lost 1. You've already lost 1. You already did the discard. You did do the discard for that one. So you were right the first time. No, I was right. I've just done the discard. That is the right one. So, when I pinned it there was 6. But when I came back there were not 6 because there were 5 when I got to the other corner. But I wrote 6 on the picture. But we did work this out and carry on regardless. So, you stay there. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the extra pair makes 6. Oh, for goodness sake, go in the hole. It's going to be one of those weeks. But we are getting closer, my friends. We are getting closer. Stop licking the blanket. Breathe deeply, breathe deeply, breathe deeply. brain cell says you shouldn't have stopped that, because now brain cell is confused. Right. One, two, three, four, five. Go. Now that looks like a mess. Why is that a mess? Because you are wrapped around a pin you shouldn't be. You think you should be somewhere else. That still looks wrong. Give me strength. Seriously, this is not hard. How can I be making so many stupid mistakes doing this? Right, so what is wrong with you two? Yoink. Because you were the wrong side of the room. Seriously, was that all your problem? What it was? How did it make such a mess? Oh dear. It's just depressing. It really is quite soul destroying sometimes. But these bobbins really are not helping. Actually, I'm not sure I needed to go that far. Come back one. Hang on. Come back one. You. I do need to do one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just sit down. The couch does not get any flatter because you go round and round 526 times before you lie down. There is no glass to flatten on the couch. And if you don't stop knocking the pillow off, I am going to go mad and I will offer you to Daddy for kebabbing. He will curry you and we will enjoy it. Yes. You say no, you're sorry. Yes, I know. Now lie down, shut up, stop messing with my pillow. There's plenty of room. Deal with it. Sorry for the dog. And now you burp. How ladylike of you. No manners. No manners. This is when we check that we have the right number count, because we're at the corner. So we are now whittling down. Looking promising. And we did end up with 2. Huzzah! So, I'm going to close this pin just because I think that's a plan. That makes you all dealt with. Let's lengthen you a bit then to move you out the way a bit more. You all sorted. You go down like that. There you go. That's you over there. So, on to the rose grounds, knowing we have almost absolutely screwed up somewhere, because we seem to have screwed up everywhere else. As I said, it's rather soul destroying to look at all your work and think of how hard you were trying to concentrate and be mildly entertaining, although I just witted on a bit, but this doesn't seem to sit down grossly well. You I need. You are done. Maybe you're not done because you're quite short, but you certainly are done because I lengthened all the ones that were done, so they tuck right out under the way. Let's push you back even further. See, they can't even stay in a pile. The spangles really don't help a lot. Okay. Let's take a cloth and cover you up a bit. That helps you stay still. Now, kind of want to squeeze a cloth under these ones actually. So let's pick you up and move you like this. Then, under magic cloth number 2, we have more bobbins, and I will waft over you for a minute so you're out of the way. And actually, you need another one of you. Hang on, I need you too. Right. So I need one of you and one of you, and some lips. So, should really be pulling pins out, shouldn't I? Let's pull out some pins. Let me do my pushy thing first. Where'd my pusher go? There it is. Hit it behind me, Coke. Let's push some more pins now. In fact, let's twiddle this so I can see what I'm doing. These things bend so easy. And I wasn't even pushing very hard. Right. And I really thought it was fairly straight. Right. So we're all pushed down. That's a good thing. Turn it back. As of course, this is the completed point of the triangle. I know. Shocking, isn't it? So we can still pins from back here now, so yoink. And this goes in the unmarked dots. You have got too long. Do you back up a bit? It's really hard to do them back up with these spangles on as well. As I say, it's just spangles and Liz. Not a good combination. Bin. I suppose thinking about it in a way, remembering that the lady said that it was rose ground with a cross. Well, if you think of what I'm doing, it is not dissimilar, because you are working the corners of a square and putting across the middle. But these ones, the rose ground, there is on a 2x2 square. The one she was doing was on a 3x3 square, which therefore normally would make that the honeycomb. So I guess that's why I think of it as a honeycomb, because it's not got the right number of pins and holes. So I think I'm going to go across the top, across the top here, and work down. Although if I work from the side and across, either is feasible. I then get to discard 2 bobbins and throw them in the big pile at the back. But then I've got more bobbins in play, I think. Really? To be honest, not that much difference in it. Straighten this up again. Let's go down the side. Let's go down the side and we can chuck some bobbins right at the end of it. So, not out the pots. You've got like 1,000 pins. Okay, it's probably 100 pins, but you've got like 100 pins on the cushion. Use one of them. Cut out the parts. And the last two. For this side anyway. More ads. That's alright, you're done. You're done. You join this pile under here. Oh, backache, backache, backache. I'm sure a lot of it is lack of practice and terrible posture, because that is most certainly true. Let's put you out of the way. Don't need you for the moment. That's done. They seem quicker this evening. Maybe people have realised my stream's not that interesting and the ad people aren't interested. I need you two and lay you a bit flatter. Thank you, Rory. What's the matter? What's the matter? You're a good boy. Yes, you're a good boy. You do dog things. You're allowed to do dog things. You are allowed to do dog things. Just be quiet, dog things. Stop licking it, whatever it is. Says dog changing to his paw to try and pretend it was himself. Not the pin. Put the pins far away. You've got pins. I apologise on Rory's behalf there. You alright, little man? Alright. Rory can't eat or swallow too much in one go. And when he tries, so if he goes and has a really big drink of water, usually it comes back up, so does his food. That was quite a successful, although rather feeble, burp. So, it's not a wretch, which is always a godsend when it comes to dogs. It's pleasant when he does do the, hey, I've been and had a drink and I've now leapt up on the bed and I'm going to puke it all over you. That's not, especially, you know, when you're not necessarily awake, or the level of awake is barely registering, and now you're covered in, well, I suppose it's water, but it's slightly been through the dog water. It's certainly not how to feel great, that's for sure. You certainly don't wake up in your best mood. He doesn't tend to do it too often, but every so often he decides he wants a really big drink or he's going to guzzle his dinner. And I end up wearing it more often than not. If I could find the stupid holes, it'd be so much easier, wouldn't it? Move around a little bit to cheer the back up a bit. Oh, that was a crunch. Not quite sure why you're so up there. There you go, that's better. Right. So, move everybody down. Yeah, I don't think I'll be going till midnight, although that was my original hope. But let's see what we can get up to, because we're making good speed at the moment, which probably means I'm completely fluffing it all up. But see what happens if I do that, and now I need 2 pens. I'm not sure this was a plan, but it's not an unplan. Felt a bit weird, but didn't gain or lose, so. Could be worse. Oh, I must be sitting so badly. Yeah, I think this will be a shorter stream than I hoped, but if I can finish this rose ground tomorrow morning-ish, late morning, kind of lunchtime, we can finish the triangle and prepare for the oncoming storm, as the phrase goes. Because we potentially have the pricking if we really like this, and I'm kind of liking it. The question becomes, are we doing ground in the middle or that new honeycomb? If we're doing a new honeycomb, I'll need to print out. I will print out a slightly different pattern so that it makes it easier for me to not screw it up, because clearly I need all the help I can get. And if we stick with it as is, I will spend a lot of time pricking holes in the new brown one. For those who missed it earlier, in case, you haven't been catching up on YouTube, as you may have noticed, while you can see the pattern and you can see what I'm doing, you can see the shape, even if I zoom in, I'm not going to adjust where the camera is, but even this part here is not that clear, and some of that is because the hue difference between white and the green is not a lot. Now green and a light blue of roughly the similar kind of lightness, it's almost a baby blue, is a very traditional colour. However, I raise you craft brown. Now, I don't have any spare bobbins now, so you'll have to take my word for it, because they're all in use, that the white thread, actually, yes, I can do this. I have the white thread, for I have the very spool. Here we go. The white thread does show up quite well. Now, admittedly, that's, the zoomed out version, but if I zoom in now, it stands out quite well. And so, while originally this green square could have been the first of many, the spangles have been a deciding factor, or the primary factor, as to why that is not going to be true. But then moving out of the green paper onto the brown is a secondary factor and an added bonus. Otherwise we would have had to wait till the end of the square. But it is a thing. We have some solutions, and I do appreciate that it makes my streams harder to watch, and obviously one of the things that, while I have done streaming before, I have not done crafting streaming. And, well, the streaming I did before was play a game, so all I had to do was sit on my computer and play the game, and the thing captured the game, and I basically did nothing more than that. I didn't have to zoom in, zoom out, change screens. I just played the game. And so a lot of this is new to me, and I appreciate your patience in learning this with me, or me learning while you suffer. And I don't like to think of you guys... I mean, to an extent, I know that there are many things in life which to do are great. Pretty much any sport. If you are part of that sport, you're really involved in it, you're doing it, it's up, whether you win or lose or whatever may be is down to you, and so you are putting in your all. And for you, it's fascinating because you are the centre of it, right? Whether that's darts, snooker, gymnastics, swimming, rugby, football, American football, all of these things are something that you can do that is great fun to be part of. However, watching it on TV, golf, especially, I'm thinking of you, cricket, you're right up there too, darts, snooker, and frankly many more, they're not as much fun when you are just a spectator. Now, if someone you know is partaking, again, you are much more involved in it because you are emotionally invested in it. But if you're just watching a bunch of overpaid idiots run around a field or smack a ball or whatever it is, I can't watch Wimbledon for this reason. Playing tennis, I loved playing tennis. I was reasonably good at it. I was never like Wimbledon stuff, but for the kid that I was playing at a game level many years above my age. However, I never did huge competitions. I did win a competition, but it was a very specific competition. It was the Girl Guide one. But to play it, happily. Watching the people you're about to play, watching people maybe fight out for a place beneath you, interesting, great fun. You're really involved because you're physically there. Physically there helps. If you are physically on site at said sporting event, you are often caught up in the atmosphere of the event. Sitting in your TV with the dog nagging to go in and out and your back hurting and the phone ringing and maybe a bit of doom scrolling while you do it and you're a bit distracted and or I need a pee, and, all of this kind of stuff going on, you're not invested. And frankly, it doesn't work as well. It becomes too easy to mentally switch off and just kind of go off and do something else. As a child, my dad especially, I think, I label my parents, but I think my dad was really keen on watching the cricket. Now, if you've never really watched a cricket match, there's a lot of standing around. There are 6 balls and over. I know this. And there are a bunch of overs. Whatever. But mainly it's... they collect the ball from the last one. They kind of gently saunter back to where they wanted to stand. The man who's going to be chucking the ball, the bowler, slowly, like a sloth, walks backwards, polishing the ball on his privates, usually. Well, that's what it looks like, even though it is his trousers, but it looks like his privates. To give it a bit of shine and a bit of spin, and there's a bit of you going, really? Wiping it on your groin is not going to change it that much physically. And then he runs like 4 paces, does his overarm bowl, the ball goes herring down, man takes a swipe, and maybe, just maybe, they move. And depending on how well dude hit it, they run, usually kind of jog a bit, but run between the 2 stumps and stop. And then the whole kind of 10-minute last process is repeated, and this count, and they do that 6 times. That is an over. And then of course there's the umpire's decision. 20-30 minutes of not that you can hear it, just people standing on the field kind of going stroke your beard, stroke your beard. And it's kind of like, I'm going to be retired by the time this game is over. So, my parents insisted on watching this shit. And it used to be on BBC One, Saturday afternoons, just to piss you off, right? It was on grandstanding, it'd be on BBC One. Or even worse, it'd be on BBC One and BBC Two. So you couldn't get away from it. And they'd then go out gardening. And I'm kind of not a gardener. I never have. I am like physically allergic to... I'm not domesticated. That is the best description I can give you, is I am not domesticated. I suck at all forms of housework, and I can decorate, so I can repair walls, I can paint walls. Usually at 3 o'clock in the morning, when I've suddenly had this kind of brain cell wake up, hey, we could paint the kitchen, really brain cell kind of moment. As you can tell, my brain cells will be the death of me. But they would go out in the garden, right down the end of the garden, and my dad's garden was like 100 foot, right down the end of the garden, and I'd be inside, and on, say, BBC Two on a good day, there would be St Trinians, which, politically incorrect now, hideously bad in today's society, for the time, funny as, right? And being a middle child, so close to a teenager maybe, somewhere around there, some of the more adult level parts of it, I just went straight over my head. The rest of it, naughty girls in a school, planning to, selling liquor to raise money for the school or whatever. I understood all of that. I mean, sort of. I mean, I knew it was naughty. I knew that this was not the plan. And why does this not look right? It's because I'm doing the wrong thing. And so, you know, it was... But I found it funny. Most of the funny parts seemed funny. Maybe not on all the levels that they were intended to be funny on, but I found them funny. And I enjoyed watching St Trinian's because it was, well, not cricket. And, like, you'd be halfway, you know, half an hour into St Trinian's, laughing, you know, kind of giggling away gently in the corner with the dog. My dad was strolling. I was watching that. Come on, then. How many actual runs have they got? How many overs are they in, Dad? You don't even know. It could have been rained off for the last half hour. You wouldn't know. You were not here. You can't change the channel. When you're not here, I can do what I freaking like. And I used to get in quite a bit of trouble for it because we're watching that as they weren't. And I love my ex-husband. He's a great and glorious guy. And he's one of my best friends, if not my, if not one of the best friends that I have. But it always used to make me laugh when I was doing shift work and I'd come home, he'd be asleep, TV would be on, and I'd come home wide awake because it would be like 11 o'clock at night. We didn't do full shifts, we only did kind of partial shifts, but we covered from like 6 in the morning till 10 at night or something. So we had shifts, but not full-on shifts. So I'd get home, say, 11 o'clock, and he'd be snoring like a, industrial disposal unit. And the dogs would be kind of, oh, you came home then? Yeah, I did. Can you let us out? Yeah, I'll let you out. Right, I'm going to bed. I need to go to bed, I'm tired. I'd go to bed, there he was, snoring away like an industrial unit, and watching some cartoons on the TV. If I turned the TV off, bear in mind, snoring like an industrial unit, I was watching that about half an hour after I turned it off. Of course you were, dear. Of course you were. Now, we all know, and we've all done it, we have indeed been watching something and fallen asleep watching it. So in our head, because time ceases to move while you're asleep, you were indeed watching it. One of my most expensive sleeps to date was many years ago. You can look up how many years ago when I name it. We lived in West London and I was old enough to drive. I had a car and me and some friends decided that we were going to watch RoboCop 2 on the first night at Leicester Square. And it was like a midnight showing. It was freaking ridiculous. So we had a few caffeine pills because, it was midnight and we'd all done a day's work first. Drove to Leicester Square. I think even then it was like £16 to park. We paid something like £14 each a seat. We sat down and I don't know what it's like in the rest of the world. So here in the UK, you go to watch a film and they play you some like cheap, crappy music with some lights on. Then they lower the lights a bit. Then they pump you full of trailers and adverts. Usually it's a bit of advert, a load of trailers, including a trailer for the film you're about to watch. Then the last minute, go and get your popcorn and some local businesses kind of adverts. And then kind of like they assume that you're done and the main deal comes on. I didn't make it to the local adverts. I was asleep. Now obviously I didn't know I was asleep because, well, I was asleep. And my friends apparently spotted that I had fallen asleep and let me. Now, I need to point out, wages in the UK, back when this happened, we had no such thing as minimum wage. And I didn't really earn 2 figures, so I think I earned £9,500 a year at this point. So, blowing 25 quid, which was a number of hours' wages, after tax and crap, was not how I wanted this to go down. And I woke up, impeccable timing, just as the credits come up. So I thought they were pre-credits. Because occasionally films have, like, you know, filmed by, you know, and they sometimes do, like, the main heroes before the film. And then don't show them afterwards, so you've forgotten who actually played some random dude that, you know, you worked out who he was later. Because, of course, you know, Francois, played by Puff. And you're like, okay, whoever that is, and I don't know who he is. And then you watch the film and you go, oh, who was the dude playing? Like, he was quite good. And everyone's going, oh, I don't remember either. Because, of course, you know, they only told you at the beginning and you didn't know all the character names. And so you had no idea who the actors were, because quite often they just put the name up, not a picture of the face. And so he could have been any of them. Yeah. Add time. Sod off, Spangles! I hate you. I hate you a lot. You're really getting on my nerves. And I think it's actually more annoying now I'm kind of on the homeward straight a bit. Because, of course, I'm on the homeward straight now. And, you know, the end is in sight. And they're still here. Right, you go up there, out the way. And I lift you over that pin that's lifted up a bit. Push you down a bit more to make that a bit flatter. How's that looking? There's a couple of extra pins. You've lifted, you can come out. A bit of a hole there, I missed something here, I think. That one's a bit of a... Oh no, that's part of the different stitch. That's why it looks like a faux pas, because it's where we change stitch. This is quite a nice way of doing it because it does reveal the lace as you go, so it is quite advantageous to be stealing pins from other portions. You, because you're sticking up. Part of the problem with falling asleep during that film was that obviously technically I'd been to see it and everyone knew I'd been planning to go and see it. I was like, oh, what did you think of the film? What did you think of the film? Oh, I slept through it. Oh. And of course, it was too expensive to be considering going again. And back then it could be 2.5 years before you saw it on video. So, yeah, it took a long time before I saw RoboCop 2, and it was a bit crap, so I didn't entirely miss everything. But I like the original RoboCop. I mean, it was very dated, even when it came out. You know, the special effects by today's standards were, you know, kind of almost cardboard people jiggling across the room. You know, it was almost, I know this is a Salt thing, but it was almost like, man enters level of CGI, you know. It was kind of like, but, and some of the acting was really quite, okay, I've seen better in my school. But, as I said, you know, it was a film I'd really wanted to see, and a film I, well, didn't get to see for a number of years later, so, oops. Yesterday I asked the philosophical question, well, semi-philosophical question, of when does something stop being handmade? How much equipment is still handmade, and how much of it has to be kind of human worth? Now, most of us here decided that if you use a hand-powered sewing machine, that is still very much human, because literally nothing can happen without your physical movement. An electric sewing machine perhaps is a stage further than you might feel comfortable with. So I'm just trying to work out why. It's because I haven't done these. So we kind of came to the conclusion that to count as handmade, it has to be kind of hand operated. You can't be like the driver of a car. While you drive the car, you pick the gear, you point it in the right direction. The car itself is what is transporting you. You don't get out of breath because you drove faster, right? Or because you can't, you know, but it is a grey line, and you know, if you did a load of work and, I know, a machine showed on a button at the end of it, that doesn't stop it being handmade because the percentage done by a machine was small. Other people have disagreed. Now, I'm not saying they're wrong, I'm not saying they're right. It's a perfectly valid viewpoint, which was why I wanted to discuss it, because clearly it means different things to different people. But one thing someone else pointed out was, what would be nice is if there was a strong definition of what counted as what, because there is, as a consumer, nothing more infuriating than believing you're getting a handmade, individually done, and this seemed to be a key part of the handmade, is they are made kind of one at a time. And each one will have minor deviations, kind of thing, right? That if you order handmade, and very clearly it's not, and you know, much like champagne can only come from champagne. There are quite a few similar examples. Melbury pork pies can only be made in Melbury. All these kind of things where there is a standard, and it's not that people don't make stuff absolutely identical to champagne, but they are not allowed to call it champagne because it doesn't come from the Champagne region. And it boiled down to a discussion of what would be good for the consumer is for it to be declared that for it had to be declared as handmade, homemade, whatever, that there was a specific definition that could be upheld. So we've all had, I don't know, an ugly vase or something, or an ornament which is hand finished. Now, hand finished could mean a whole bunch of things, right? So let's assume it's a pottery owl, for example. So hand finished could be that, yes, the pottery part was made in a mould, but all the painting and the glazing was done by hand. Or, more accurately, the daubs in their eyeballs. Now, a lot of more modern things, I mean, I think, obviously going back, we didn't have the machinery, so people didn't really have the choice. They had to hand do it. But, you know, in modern days, hand finishing is often, you know, the two black pupils on the eyeball. That's it. That will be the hand finishing for any given thing. And there is a little bit of you that goes, I expected a bit more effort than that. You know, I wasn't asking for it to be, you know, done by vessel virgins on a mountain top, you know, while you know, with God's personal visitation. But on the flip side, I was expecting a bit more than, like, you know, one daub of paint. And so to have some form of regulated meaning, so even if you don't agree, you know, even if we would all sit there and go, well, I don't agree with that definition, but at least there would be a known definition, and you could rely on that to say, if it says it's homemade, it is made individually by a non-factory based company, for example. But then when do you decide that it's a factory? Because, for example, making stupid owls, again, for some reason I've got owls on the brain. So let's say I buy 50 moulds. I may get a load of plaster of Paris, I pour it into the moulds, I make sure that there are no air bubbles, I sling any that have when they're finished, I paint them, but I'm making 50 at a time. Maybe I rope in 6 mates to do it. Well, 6 mates is not a lot. We're sitting around the kitchen table kind of thing, poking it with paintbrushes. Kind of a home business. Well, what if now to store all the stuff, I build a really big garage? You know, buy a field next to me, because there is a field behind me, for example. Buy the field behind me, build not a warehouse size thing, but a extra large garage, so that we can now store a load more stuff, maybe get a couple more people in. What happens when you get a couple more people in? And a couple more people? When does it become a factory? Because you were, in effect, from the start, mass producing them. And so there is still room for doubt. But if these things were defined, you know, much like a pint is a pint, you know, where the size of a pint, or how someone decided a kilo was was the done thing, or a litre of water, or, you know, whichever you think came first, doesn't matter. But there is if you buy a kilo of it, you should get a kilo of it. There is a standard, because the kilo is the standard. And so to have that as your, you know, to have the definition of handmade must mean that X% of it is all, you know, X%, whether that's mainly by hours, is done, you know, single person sweating and cursing, and not a machine, then that's the definition. You know, whether they say that's 50%, 80%, 90%, you know, I would say 100%, but you know what I mean. It's... So you could still have an element of machine. What if you spent hours, I spent hours doing this, I made my net curtain, I spent my months making a net curtain, and then in 5 minutes, I ran bias tape across the top so that it could be hooked onto something to hold it against the window. Even if I then hand sewed all the hooks to the bias tape, and machine sewed, a little label said made by Liz. Well, I've used the machine, so now it's not 100% Liz made because the machine made part of it. Liz had to put it on, Liz had to be there kind of thing. But the machine did some of that. So there would need to be a level of definition and, kind of almost proof that you did it properly. So let's have a look. We've now finished this section here. We've done the cloth stitch bit down to the end. We had the right number. We already know I have screwed up the next cloth stitch stitch. Now, I'm sorry, but on my shrunken window, that's blurry as arse. It is blurry as arse, that's right. There you go. So, we've got that new stitch, and if I uncover this corner a bit, you can see a bit more about what I meant about the circles. Now, obviously, at the corner, it's not quite so apparent here because this first row here were not the whole stitch, but you can, although it looks a bit wonky, make out the little circles as they move down. So we shall have to decide. Looks like I screwed this one up slightly. It's probably just a slight tension issue, which we can resolve by tugging strings later. But we finished this section. Earlier we did the cloth stitch bit, which looks a bit ropey round about here, but we kept counting them, so we know that that's not that badly done. And this evening we've done this big bit of rose ground, which went in frankly record time. That was 2 hours. I mean, it could have been faster, but if I did something else, but they actually look square. You might not be as square as you could be. Let me quickly check. Are you as square as you should be? You are, and you are. No, you are as square as you should be. So they actually look. I might actually not have screwed any of those up. Blow me. So tomorrow morning we will try and complete. Let's zoom down a bit. It's quite stiff, this camera. Right, so what it needs to be. So we will try and complete this little bit of cloth stitch down here, and then this bit of ground here. And as you know, the ground bit tends to go fairly well, especially when you're nicking pins out of an earlier part. And then we can count the number of mistakes on it and decide whether we like it or not. But if I zoom out maybe just a little bit, I don't want it to disappear into too much nothingness. If I lift that up and we can see the whole thing. So we've got this kind of ground bit down the edge. We've got rose ground here and underneath all these pins, which frankly come out. Let's do that before we go. Let's pull these pins because, well, we can and we don't need them. So let's go to town, pull out these pins. I wish there was an easier way of... You know what it really needs? What it needs is some form of semi-preloaded, so where all the pins could go, there should be a hole, and then you put like a piece of paper over the top with your pattern on it, or you program the pattern and it blocks off all the unnecessary pins, right? So you then do your work, and then you could like go on a computer, a bit like an Etch-a-Sketch, and kind of tell it, these pins are absolutely impossible to pick up. Where's my magnet? Come here. Yeah, Mum. Thank you. Because they just fly away and they're skinny. But if I pull these up, we can... This is why they bend, of course, because I pull them up in little clumps and I'm clamping onto them. How are we doing? Maybe a few more in this corner. Yeah. There we go. So you've got the rose ground, a couple of bit in the middle, you've got the ground over here, a bit of ground over there, you've got this potential stitch with a freaking pin in the middle. Let's get rid of that. Just beginning to show here, and in fact we can do U2. So let's do U2. I did push these down so we could see a bit earlier, which makes them harder to pick up. Because you tend to kind of pinch your work as well. Pickety, grab you, and you need to stay, you can go. So, now we can see those little circles, and they are a little bit more obviously circly, so we need to choose between that and those. Right here, right now, I like the circles, but I don't know if I like them enough. But I do like them. I don't hate them. So if I did them, I wouldn't hate them. I mean, obviously once it's on a more solid background and all those other aspects of it, it will be better to judge it. But as a preliminary, you know, as it stands, 50-50 to be honest. 50-50 there. So, I mean, it's really come along. It's been slow going, I know, and there are definitely some faux pas along the way, as we know. Some more than others. I mean, where's Pokey Stick? Let me put the filter on, because the reason I want to do that is I want you to see a bit more of what I see with this. So, I know that it looks a bit wonkier now, but the white stands out slightly more. If you look here, there's 3 things there. Now, we stopped at this line, and obviously as it transitions, it might be a lot of the transition, because obviously there's, let's move that out of the way, so there's circle there, circle there, circle there. This doesn't quite look like a circle. Not quite sure why. Would need to get up close and personal. Hang on. This is a looser thread, that's all that's wrong with that one. So, I don't know. I do think that the general ground might be the winner, because it makes the rose ground sections look a little more standy-outy in a general net curtain, rather than being 3 waves, but at the same time there's going to be quite a bit of it, so, you know, like I said first time, some colours are glorious colours, but you would not necessarily, I mean let's go with most sane people would not paint their room in it. So for example, I have a rather dirty cloth here, so forgive the cloth, but this cloth, glorious colour. Would you want your living room in that colour? It's a bit much. Now you might do the chimney breast. You might do some form of stripe in a small nook. But you wouldn't normally paint, if you've got a decent sized room, you would not paint all 4 walls in that colour. It would just be too much. And I think it's not fussy, that's not the word I'm after, but I think having an additional change of stitch, either you'd have to do it all in the other stitch or all in the ground. And to be honest, because of the diamond shapes on the outside, you can't keep up because everything has to be in blocks of 3. So I think we are going to stick with the ground, but I'm really glad I tried it because it's a close second. It really is. But there we go. We have now, we are down to the final corner. And with any luck, as long as I don't screw up too much, and we already know that there is screwing uppage, because we know there are not enough bobbins in my cloth section. So you're all dealt with, you can go take a hike. You are temporarily out the way because you are now... you lot can kind of really go out the way like that. You lot can slide round. And we're back to working on 1. See how many we've got. 2. Yeah. 3. 4. We only have 4 and we should have 5. So we are missing a pair somehow. But we've got all the pairs on the right hand side, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So we actually, no we don't, we have 5. We're not wrong. We're not wrong. How in the hell did that happen? That's actually right. So the cloth stick section, which is next, has all of its bobbins there. It's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all good. Actually, no, they're not. Hang on. Because you should be coming out, which would mean there'd be 4, not 5. No, there would be 5 because it's you. That's right. It's right. Going back to my diagram, it is right. We are good. We are good. Everything is all in order. Don't panic, Mr. Mannering. It is good. So we've got our reject pile of bobbins that we will tie a couple of knots in or something. Maybe put a small layer of glue on it or something. Cheat. And yeah, tomorrow should be a good day. Let me take that filter off because it's really not the bestest of things. It does help, but not in quite the way I want it to. So hopefully, I know this was a little bit shorter than I meant to do, but we've come to a good point. I think if I went on much more, I would start making more stupid mistakes again. But we're in a good spot. We've had a good look at my triangle. What I will do is, before I forget, let me take a pretty picture of it. I take them with my phone, I know this. But if I take it with my phone, see if I can. Problem is there's too much light for me to take it without and see what I'm actually taking a photo of. There you go. My phone somehow is perpetually on silent, even though it's not silent anymore. Never mind. And tomorrow we will finish the corner, rip all the pits, untie a few knots or do something along that edge, and judge the triangle, and, well, get ready to start again. Yeah, that's kind of the... But not with these bobbins. Holy crap, not with these bobbins. Do need to pick a bobbin, but not these bobbins. So, it has been a good day. I know I've had a bit of a rant on occasion, and I did get quite sad at the number of mistakes I was making, but this evening's chunk has gone a little bit better. I know I haven't talked quite as much, but today ends on a more positive note, which frankly we all needed. So good night, and I shall speak to you tomorrow.